Ooh, what's up, y'all? Y'all, so a couple of people said, yeah, go on and do the, y'all don't mind me, honey. I got a tickle in my throat. And when I tell you, I done made me some tea. I got me some ginger in here, and some lemongrass, and some lemon, and some honey. Child, I ain't playing. I ain't playing the time. But anyway, as I try to sip my little tea, cause I feel fine, but my throat itching. But then anyway, that ain't what the video is about. But I'm gonna stave off this sickness. Satan gonna have to get back. But anyhow, that's too hot, I can tell. I'm gonna burn the hell out of myself. Yeah, I wanted to see the beginner gardening series. Okay, well, here's part 1. All right, so ooh, that's hot. So the first thing I would say as a beginner gardener, and I'm probably gonna give some advice that's unconventional, but that's usually what I do anyway, because to be very frank, most people, when they get on here giving various advice, they always start with, to me, is the most trivial stuff. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you to start with is start with your why. So, because gardening or farming is not easy work at all, not even remotely easy. So please don't fool yourself into thinking that it is easy. Because if you think that it's easy, you will start and you'll soon find out it's not easy, and then you will give up. You have no idea how many people I have seen get on YouTube, start gardening, think it's cool, and then when the heat sets in, or they have problems with their crops, or the pests show up, or whatever, and they tap out. So let me start with that. So if you have a concrete why you're gardening, and you have a very strong desire for your why, for instance, let's say your why is you want your family to have access to better quality foods. Okay, every time you go outside, think about, if I don't complete this task, or if I don't, if I don't continue to push myself to garden, my little reason is out the window. So I must wasn't serious. And that's gonna probably be tip number 2. Be serious. Like real talk. If you grown, you too old to be playing. Like, I don't really even understand grown folks. Like, there's a time and a place for that, because I can be very playful, but nah, when it comes to gardening, I'm very serious. Very. And that's probably why I'm fairly successful. I won't say I'm successful in everything, but I harvest consistently every year. I learn something new every year. I get better every year because I'm serious. My why for me is, like I said, I just want better quality food. I want to lower my grocery bill. I want to be less reliant on outsiders for one of my needs, and food is a need. I think food is also a right, but the powers that be don't feel that way, but it is what it is. But that's number 1. So start with your why and be serious about that why. Put your foot down. Do not lift your foot up. If you lift your foot up, that's on you. You can't blame nobody else. Quite frankly, people get on here and cry and whine. Oh, it got hot. The pigs, they ate my stuff. Okay, duh. Like, where you been? What, you think ain't nothing gonna eat your crops? Like, what you been? Who you been watching? You've been watching these people that sell you these fairy tales that gardening is easy and don't nothing wrong happen. You know what I'm saying? I could name several very large gardening channels. They never show failures. Never. So get that straightened out. The second thing you need to do is you need to adjust yourself to where you start paying attention to the weather and things of that nature. You need to be paying attention to your growing zone. You need to know your growing zone. You need to pay attention to your weather as well, because just because you have a growing zone, some of these growing zones have changed. And then also the weather is very unpredictable. It doesn't matter where you are, the weather can be unpredictable. So start getting yourself to where, watch the weather, pay attention, remember some of this stuff, because you shouldn't go to bed every day and wake up and then it's like you don't remember nothing from the day before. You don't remember that it rained, you don't remember that it was hot, you know what I'm saying? Start adjusting yourself to that stuff. I watch the weather like a hawk. I look at the weather 2-3 times a day, because this stuff out here is important to me. If the temperature's getting ready to dip and it's getting ready to freeze, I need to know, because I don't need all my food to freeze. Or if it's going to be a drought for a prolonged period of time, I need to know so that I can make adjustments to what I do, because the weather is going to control a large part of things that go on. Weather and how you adjust and adapt to the weather is going to control. Let me be specific. It ain't just the weather. It's what you do in response to the weather, since you can't control the weather. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3, my number 3 would be, don't do too much too fast. I think sometimes people's eyes is bigger than their stomach. Like, for instance, you ever seen somebody go to a buffet, they try to eat everything at the buffet and get sick? I think people, when it comes to gardening, do that. They see all these different things and they want to do it all. You can't do it all, especially if you're brand new and you've never grown anything a day in your life. You really need to pick a couple of 2, 3, 4 things and master that. When you first start, because when I first started, real talk, I was growing too much stuff. I should have started with maybe 2 things, 2 or 3 things. What does your family utilize the most or like the most? I like to say utilize the most, because I'm practical. For instance, they may love strawberries. Strawberries is cool, but I don't know many people that eat strawberries every single day. Maybe it would be more practical for you to try to learn how to grow garlic or onions or peppers. You know what I'm saying? If those are things that you use more in your day-to-day cooking or food preparations. I think people have lost how to be practical. It's all about what I want. It's fine to grow what you want. I grow what I want, but best believe the stuff that I use every day would make stuff practical. I get that out the way first, and then after that, I focus on the I wants or the treats. So let's make sure we're not in a kid mentality, because if you give a kid a choice between candy and quote unquote healthy foods, they're gonna pick candy probably every time, unless you one off got the kid that is a little bit different. Those kids do come around, but they're the exception. They aren't the norm. So we have to really try to be grown-ups when we're doing some of this stuff. The 5th thing I probably want to say is oh, okay, that's a ladybug. I'm feeling freak out, these bugs. Anyway, the 5th thing I would say is assess your personality. So if you got the type of personality where, for instance, I don't have the type of personality to where I'm finna start some stuff in the house and harden it off and I gotta be carrying it in and out the house over and over again. No, that ain't me. I've tried it several years in a row. I leave the stuff outside, I forget about it, the stuff die, the sun kill it, all this kind of stuff. That ain't me. So I don't do it. I'm not saying that starting stuff in the house is a bad thing. I'm not saying it. Some people, patience, attention to detail, all that stuff is better than mine. So they excel at doing it that way. I don't. If I had my way, which I really don't have my way, I would direct sow everything I would direct sow. Because you just throw the seeds, wait for the crap to come up, feed it, water it. To me, that's simpler and more straightforward. If you know you ain't really one that's gonna jive with all of that, all that tedious stuff, if you know you one that's not gonna jive with all that tedious stuff, or if you don't have the time to do it, don't do it. Find you another way to do. You get what I'm saying? And it may involve you being creative and figuring out ways that you've never seen other people do it, but ways that work for you. Because this goes back into assessing your personality too. You need to be gardening the way that works for you. You don't need to be just sitting up here carbon copying what somebody else do. Because as I've said before, their location, their soil, what they're doing on a day-to-day, where they got their seeds, all of this stuff varies. There are so many variables from gardener to gardener. So assess your personality. See what kind of person you are, and then try to go from there, you know. And then once you go from there, you can kind of start delving off into some things a little deeper. But I promise you, if you try to garden like everybody else instead of figuring out what works for you, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle every single time. You can ask people for advice, but if you get advice from them, get in the habit of knowing, as soon as they start telling you, be thinking in your mind, and I'm not saying blurt this out, be thinking in your mind, oh, okay, I might could do that, or nah, that ain't gonna work for me because they doing X, Y, Z. You get what I'm saying? Somebody can tell me something and almost off top, I can tell you based on my personality, like, nope, I ain't finna do that, too much work. And some things I'm willing to put my effort into, some things I'm not. Also know that about yourself. Please don't think gardening is just growing your food. Gardening will grow you as a human being too, and you will learn more about yourself as well. So keep all of those things in mind. And y'all forgive me, my throat, but keep all that stuff in mind and start practicing that stuff. This is just part 1. I'm gonna go into part 2, and y'all will get part 2. Hello, B. There's a carpenter bee in front of me. Anyway, till next time. See you guys later.